Well, if you can hear me when you come back, can you tell us why nobody did, like, they allowed you to date at 14 and pick somebody at that age? Like, was there no one that told you this is not the right time to find somebody? You shouldn't be dating this early. Nobody tried to step in and say this is not ideal.
Sorry, I'm eating.
Yeah, you good.
Actually, I was not allowed to date technically until I was 16 years old, but I was a little fast little grown up. So, yeah, I technically was dating him at 14.
So you gotta hold that L because you broke the rules via something you wanted to do, jumped out the window, got with somebody that they didn't get a chance to vet and approve. So on that specific one, you gotta
And
hold.
then my mama, when she did meet him, she absolutely hated him.
Yeah,
Oh Lord Jesus, come on now, dog. Come
yeah.
What
on
you said,
now.
Aisha? You say your mom hated
I
him?
didn't catch that. What'd you say?
She said her mom hated him. Aisha.
And then what was this the Sweeney point? God damn, my memory
But
gone.
it,
I
but it, but
just
in
woke
the
up, y'all,
chat,
like
they want to
10
make
minutes
it
ago.
seem like I don't know what I'm talking about. Like I'm just like talking out of my ass. Excuse my French.
No, but 17 years later, but this is the thing. I remember like early on, like early 20s or something, when I had my son, and my mom, she said, the first thing, the same thing that you don't like about him now, you're not going to like about him 15 years from now, right? So you're either going to compromise and get over it, or you're going to leave him today, right? I remember my mom having this conversation with me as a young girl, and I'm like, I can deal with it. And then 17 years later, those things that I thought I could get over, I never actually got over any of those things. And he never actually changed. The personality just got worse as we age.
That happens a lot, Aisha. Well, a lot of young girls grow up thinking that they can change and shape a man, well, a boy, into something different and better. So that's not really like far fetched out there to me because I see that a lot in our community, honestly.
It's not far fetched, but that's a terrible way to move forward for this reason
Yeah,
specific.
it is.
Power dynamics exist in relationships, and the moment men submit to women and get led by them, something occurs in the woman's mind that starts to disrespect that man at some level, where she feels like he's not a man, and then she looks at men who she views as men in comparison and belittles him, even if she does not say it out loud. The seed is planted at that point, and it continues to grow and fester, and now fights pop up when you like, man, that's not that big of a deal. Why is she tripping about this? Because she views you as underneath her. So she's talking down to you based off of that, because she naturally has a need and a desire to look up to you based off of the way hypergamy and her like the nature and her DNA is set up or whatever, right? Um, but Sweeney, all right, I know what I was gonna say. In
Marcus,
that scenario,
before you get to that point, let me just ask you. I just want to know. And once a woman views you in that manner, what do you think the odds are of changing her perception of you?
you damn near gotta stand on a position and be willing to end the relationship behind this shit. If you're not willing to end the relationship by standing up for what you believe in, it ain't gonna work, because you're gonna keep falling down to make sure the relationship works. And now that she's comfortable being in charge, you fighting back seem like acts of aggression as opposed to acts of leadership, because she's used to the dynamic of being able to son you. It's like, you ever had somebody you mentor, and then when they feel like they want to rise up and tell you about what you should be doing, and you don't want to be mentoring them, and you be looking at them like, bro, I've been telling your ass what to do. How you gonna tell me what to do? I got the experience. I've been doing this shit way before you was my mentee. And now y'all
Yeah,
just at odds. That's what's happening. You would have to separate from your mentor, become more successful than the mentor, then come back to the mentor and say, hey, I have a way that works for you, for the mentor to then begin to follow you. And then it's still a good chance that they're gonna look at you with some
yeah.
resentment just based off of that relationship.
The reason why I was asking that, Marcus, is because I don't believe that women generally can unsee that. Once they view you as beneath them, once they feel like they could punk you, once they grow that resentment for you, where they feel comfortable disrespecting you, I don't think there's any coming back from that. And I try to encourage men to understand, and women, like, once you feel like that about a man, you probably shouldn't be with them anymore. And if you were being treated like that, I don't think it's reversible. I think it's completely irreparable. I don't care what the phase of the relationship is. I would abandon it immediately. That's just how I feel about it, because I don't think that you can unsee that. That power dynamic is obliterated, in my opinion.
I don't think that the women look at them like the men are beneath them. For me, I feel like because I like solution based stuff. I feel like it's normally when women start to look at men like that when they can't trust the man, or they feel like they can't depend on a man. So that is when she'll start to look at how other men are treating her, maybe her friends or whatever the case may be, and then the comparison will start. Say, wait, like for instance, like Aisha said, she believed that he was, going to do certain things, but as he got older, she realized like, nah, that's not what it is. That's who he is, right? So then that's when the trust stopped. I can't depend on him. Now I got to do it myself. For me, I feel like when a woman trusts and love her man, right, and can depend on him, you have a woman that's going to respect you. And when a man, whatever your man says, it goes, because you respect him, right, and you trust his leadership. But when that trust is broken, you can't depend on him. That's when the back and forth goes, and your perception of him kind of change in your mind.
So let me interrupt real quick. What I wanted to say is we may reach an accountability bottleneck when we try to put the reason for leaving on, was it a man, was it a woman? Let's just agree to be subjective on that based on your friends in your circle, because I would argue that depending on who your friends are, if it's mostly women, and more times than not, the women that's ending their relationships or failing is going to say that it was the man's fault, and vice versa. If most of your friends are men, when they come to you and tell you why it failed, they're going to say it's the woman's fault. So let's just scratch that off and just say it's a subjective fault, and it's contingent upon the friends and the circles you run against. Let's look at this like a system. Okay, a man, you agree to be with this man. You married this man. You confide in him. Boom, everything's running smooth. He fails at leadership. You leave him. You go to another man. And it repeats. He fails at leadership. You leave him. Fails at leadership. Is that an effective way to run a community or build a society in the world? Is that effective? Because I would argue that the submission and the union, marriage, is not contingent upon whether this man reached an obstacle or he reached he hit a wall where he struggles and he can no longer lead, and then he loses his entire family. Because I would say, man, it's almost inevitable in some cases, or some demographics and some lifestyles you choose, or some career paths you choose. It's inevitable that you're going to run into obstacles. But if y'all are telling us as men listening that when we do run into an obstacle, when we do fail, and we will fail, I failed, my wife's still here. When we do fail, are y'all communicating to men today that when we fail, we should expect to lose our families? When we backslide, when we sin, when we make a mistake, and we still want to be there, we should expect to lose our family. Is that what we're saying? And if that's what we're saying, is that effective?
I'm not saying that.